Hyeth? How do you say it?
Like I think that's probably more accurate, but I just say Hyrith. It's
Hyrith.
easier.
Hyrith. And what does it mean again?
It's a homesickness for a place that might not exist yet, or it could be something from the past. It could be a vision, that sort of thing.
Right. Okay, so I have Hyrith here today to talk to me about something she knows in and out, all the details of completely, which is a topic I've invented for her, which is just sort of nonsensical musings of my own mind, which is that corporate culture creates psychopathy itself, that it doesn't just find, nurture, and elevate psychopaths, that it actually creates them from nothing, out of like normal people as well. So I have some ideas about that as to why that would be, and I will elucidate on those. But let me ask Hyrith if she has anything to say about that at all.
Well, probably. I mean, I probably have, I'm not a professional, but like as on the subject of psychopathy, but I guess I just need to know the definition of what you mean by corporate culture.
Right. Okay. Well, have you worked in an office, or you've encountered corporate culture just by watching ads, right?
Mm-hmm.
So let me lay it out. The best example I can think of is it starts with, I worked quite a bit in the corporate world. Let's say I have in the past, and it seems a lot of people you meet are. Oh, here he is. Oh, I'll get him in before I lay into this, so he's not lost. Hello, I can't see you.
Hey, yeah, I'm trying to figure that out myself, but how is everyone?
Good.
How are you?
I'm pretty good. How are you doing? Is it Hyrith, right?
Yes.
Yeah, fantastic. There we are. All right.
Hey.
You see me?
Yep.
Yes.
My flesh and blood now?
Yeah, perfect.
All right. Fantastic.
So I need to figure out this too. I've never done two at once either, so I guess best way is I'll say a bit. I'll finish what I was saying, and then we'll do it in turns. I'll ask Hyrith what she thinks, or no, I'll ask you first, and then go to Hyrith. Give her a break. Let her.
All right.
Let her absorb.
Let me ponder.
My ranting.
Yes.
My ranting. Sure. Okay, so I was going to say, so corporate culture creates psychopaths. This is my theory. So I say it begins, let's say, with the interview process, where, according to our modern way of getting jobs and presenting yourself, you have to go in and basically it's expected of you to lie and to present yourself as absolutely immaculate and competent in every imaginable way, like beyond any truth, right? So right off the bat, you're sort of stepping into some shoes that are ghostly and non-existent, and you're being dishonest right off the bat. Everybody is, or they have to. You can't just go in and say, "Okay, I'm actually good at this. These are, I don't give a shit about this or that." You have to sort of be dishonest. So that starts you off on this path that leads right to the top, where throughout the structure of your typical corporate company, the greatest liar and the highest achievers are the most dishonest and not the most competent, but the ones that are best at feigning perpetual competence to like a superhero degree. And that's the first thing I'll say about it for now. And it's like, does that make sense? What do you think?
Yeah, I think so. There's a jack of all trades kind of element, salesmanship to it. It's very individualistic. It's very seeking, cutthroat, and it really depends. I mean, on the culture of the corporation you're trying to become have a oneness with in order to better appeal to its sensibilities. I think is if you wanted to be nice a bit about how you would infiltrate or this corporate ladder, that would be the way to do it.
Yeah. So here, what do you think about that? Do you think can you sense like dishonesty is rife in everything to do with corporate culture, from the advertising to the behavior of the employees, and then even the goals now of the companies generally, I think, are kind of dishonest, and you can't set out like a realistic goal that's honest.
No, you really can't. And well, there's a lot of like personality, like part of the interview process is like this personality profiling. They're looking for specific traits. So of course, the person that really wants the job is going to have to try to figure out what it is they want, and they're going to try to mold themselves to be that. And then that phrase that gets tossed around a lot, it immediately pops in my mind, the fake it till you make it.
Yeah.
And I think that sort of nails it right there. The mentality of the whole thing.
Well, yeah. So that's just one element of it. So then when you're in there,
yeah.
So that's when you start off. It's fake it till you make it. Okay, so everyone's faking it, and everybody knows everybody else is faking it.
Sure.
And you can have a certain actual, obviously, talent and skill, but you generally, I feel than ever, it gets kind of diffused and misused, and the goals of the company. There's a lot of what's the word? Not incompetence, but wastefulness. Like, even it's supposed to be this machine for honing the talent of people into like into a money making. You're supposed to hone it like a sharp sword or something into like perfection of like excellence in money making, I suppose. But it seems to be a lot of wasteful behavior, wasted money. Whenever I've seen them, like, I can't believe some of the incompetent things that are going on, and the people that have risen to management status, how useless and incompetent they are, and how things go in circles. Wasteful it is. Like, I'm just like amazed by something that's at least claiming to be so analytical and obsessed with what's the word? Not perfect. Like what's the word? I've completely lost the word I was going to say. But whatever. Yeah. I've completely lost. No, what the hell's the word?
If you want to think
say something. Save me.
Accuracy? Yeah. I don't know.
It's sort of like efficiency. That's it.
Oh,
sorry.
Okay.
Efficiency. Yeah.
Efficiency.
I mean, what a fucking stupid word to lose. Like, Jesus, that's basic. That's a basic word. Yeah. So for something that claims to be all about efficiency, it seems to be not so much. But that's not even in terms of creating. It doesn't just create psychopathic behavior for the employee who's faking it. It eventually it seems like the people who you're selling this shite to also begin to expect those corporate mores, and they have done so over time. So much so that what I'm saying, like even you guys, I'm not sure how much you agree with me or not, but anyways, they begin to absorb. They expect, say, to see branding, and they expect to see familiar forms in branding that, they don't expect anything surprising or new. They expect the corporate culture themselves. The recipient has come to expect the same kind of stuff. So in that way, I feel like it's a machine for spreading psychopathy. And Hirith was saying she doesn't know about psychopathy. I can't even say it. That psychopathy. What would you say? Psychopathy, psychopathy.
Psychopathy is fine. Either or. It's tomato.
Well, nobody
fucking says tomato.
They do here. I do. But
that's it. We're bringing back tomato, or we're
the Brits did. Yeah.
The
like
Brits
tomato.
say tomato. Do they really?
Mm-hmm.
Oh, I didn't know
that. They say tomato here. I don't. I refuse.
Do they really?
Everybody else does. Yeah. I still say all the old shit I used to say. I don't say petrol. I say gas. And I don't say boot. Yeah. I say truck.
What was that last one?
Petrol, for gas.
Yeah, but you said boot, truck. What?
Oh, boot is the boot is the trunk of the car is the boot here.
Oh,
it's the boot. Yeah,
right.
There's a lot of funny ones. Muffler on a car is called a sound box.
It does that.
yeah, very literal, very literal. Oh, there's a lot of funny little things like that. But yeah, so psychopathy is, if in case you don't know or anybody else doesn't know, it's like in the literal sense, it's people that don't have emotions, more or less, and they just kind of, there's a lot of them around. They don't really feel empathy for people. So in certain situations, if they go crazy, they can just kill and start killing people as many as they don't feel any emotions or sympathy for people. So if they have that problem where they don't feel emotions, they're capable of these horrible things.
Well, people with psychopathic tendencies actually have a lot of their neurological wiring crossed, and so they get fulfillment in ways that are alien, and so that's why they can have this emotionless state, because they have either a chemical imbalance or more of than need be, and so they react in these kind of ways that can seem emotionless for whatever goal and purpose they are trying to mince with. And these people are sought out by the elite class for tendencies of owning a managerial status, of all sorts of different ills and variables.
Yeah, they do good at climbing that corporate ladder because they don't care about anybody or anything, and because they get very used to lying. They're expert liars because they don't.
Yes.
When you grow up and you don't actually feel emotions, you have to lie and pretend that you do. So you become like an expert actor. But at the same time, you just want things for yourself. Like they're usually incredibly selfish. So this is the kind of behavior traits that I see. Not just that they succeed in that environment, but they create it in like normal people. Traits like this, where they. Because it's also dishonest. That's my whole premise, I guess, really. But I can see it spreading as the ideals of corporate culture spread, not just as a work ideal across the world, and all these offices and all these companies get more and more like this. It's just also the people imbibing their product seem to get these values as well, and it's kind of something I feel like I've noticed. But like, Hiras, did you ever work? Tell us did you have experience working in an office, and what did you make of it?
I've never worked in actually, I've worked in one cubicle type job when I was younger, but it was very short lived. It was selling newspapers over the phone.
Oh,
and I'm like the worst. I'm just a really terrible salesman because I don't know. I'm bad at like trying to convince people they should buy something. So if they're like, I don't want it, I'm like, okay, fine.
Yeah,
sorry. Have a great day.
That's exactly it, because that's just you're an honest person. You can't see the point. And it takes that kind of psychopathic mind. It's like, no, you must convince them that they want it, or sell it, find some old person that doesn't buy it.
Yeah, they gave us I remember they gave us a list of rebuttals to give to people when they didn't want something. And I was just really bad because I would just sort of read it off the screen in this monotone way. And I was like, after like one or two, and I was just like, all right, you have a good day. It'd be like, I don't need the newspaper. I have the internet. And I'm like, well, I can't really argue against that. I mean, they don't like it. They prefer the internet. So it's
shit.
If I got you on the phone, I'd love it. I'd be like, okay, this is an honest person is just kind of meekly giving up, and this is great. I love it.
I'm going to give that money, actually.
Yeah.
Go and pursue something in your soul, please.
It is very manipulative. I mean, like to try to convince somebody that they want to buy something that they already explicitly said they don't want, and you're like, well, actually you do want this. And let me tell you why you want this and try to change their mind. And it's very manipulative.
It's awful. It's evil. And this is what they're doing. This is the basis of the whole thing. That's exactly like part of the problem. Like say in the very much older times, let's say it was less when our values were less mercantile centric. And it was less about like sales and just make the money no matter what kind of thing. You'd have like a goal. You'd form a company to create a goal, like East India Company or something. There'd be a mercantile mindset there of a kind, but it wouldn't be like all about crunching the percentages and exploiting this and that and sales. It'd be like you have a goal. Let's work together to our best ability to reach a sensible goal. Whereas that you don't have a sensible goal in your sight when you're in your cubicle, trying to manipulate people like that, trying to sell them things they don't need or don't want, that you don't care about. That's what I would say.
Yeah, things that you don't even want. Trying to convince people that they should want them.
So did you get fired or did you quit?
I quit. Yeah.
Oh, good. You got them before they could give you the job.
That's a good way of looking at it. I like that.
Yeah. I remember I had a job once. I was working at this was not a corporate job. It was actually not a bad job, but for various reasons it was over, let's say, and I'd made a mistake, some terrible mistake, and the guy was just giving out at me, like giving his rant, and as he was talking I sort of slipped out of the room and he didn't even know I was gone. I could hear him still talking as I ran away basically.
Like, I'm just gonna quietly make my exit.
That was it. I was just like, I could hear him still talking as I was leaving. I think I rode away on my bike. It was actually not a bad job, except no, there was problems. There's different problems. That's how it goes. I mean, that's the honest. That anti-psychopathic behavior that you and I both exhibited there. And honestly, like, okay, we're not good at this. Fuck this. I'm leaving.
Yeah.
Or instead of like pretending and like being fake, I guess.
Was that industry like artwork, or I mean, you know? Are you talking about just any employment in general? Or are we talking industry or artwork?
Oh, see, like the more corporate it is, the more fake and the more hopeless it is. I don't know what kind of jobs have you had in that?
Yeah,
you've had mostly. But.
Well, no, I've had some. I've done some auditing. I've done some all sorts of different shit. That was awful. For the most part, corporate culture was about trying to avoid the boss as much as possible and act like you're busy, that kind of shit. Not being seen enjoying yourself, like, you know, if I was doing auditing for 6 hours and you know, I could do it with my headphones on, but they wouldn't, you know, that doesn't look productive. And so, you know, the more strife, and that was that you could exalt upon your employees seemed to be the because I mean, this work's kind of fucking useless, you know, sending emails and whatever. I mean,
auditing is in like for taxes, or
it was more for I can't really get into it. It was nonprofit work, really.
Okay. All right,
but it was just mainly just keeping an eye on what money was spent where on who and this kind of stuff. You know, I guess it's important, but it was really, really fucking boring. That's for sure. I guess that's more so my bone to pick with
well, you've had mostly
culture.
yeah. You managed to make money working in art pretty much most of your life, didn't you? Like one way or the other.
Yeah, I still do.
You still do, yeah, right? Yeah. So I had all kinds of jobs, even though that one I was mentioning is not one of the more corporate ones. That was at a recording studio where I was like the guy. I was the guy that designed the CD covers for all the bands that came. So it was a cool job, and whatever.
Nice.
But it just ended badly, and the guy was like kind of not doing well. But this is totally off the topic because it wasn't even a corporate job. Anyway, I remember applying for a corporate job. I went with a friend. Somehow we were both applying at the same time, and we did the whole competence thing. Like presented ourselves. We're so competent. God, you can't. You know, there's we can do it. We can do anything, and did the whole spiel. And then we turned around, and right in front of the guy that was talking to us, we couldn't find the exit. We got confused, and we went out like a fire escape and set off the alarm.
No.
Nice.
Our confidence was shattered. And I think again we were like running away, but running. Let's get out of here. So you know, yeah.
Well, I mean, in the art world, I mean, I trained to do graphic design at one point, and that's the most soulless, artistically stifling shit. I mean, you kind of, you know, you have to work within the paradigm of, or paradigm, you know, you have to work within the context of whatever, you know, you're trying to sell, right? Writing copy, doing boilerplates, this kind of shit. And I mean, it's completely soulless, and they would always want you to try and you know. I remember we were trying to get dead celebrities to endorse a product. That was one of the things that one of the companies wanted us to do, and that was like Van Gogh to endorse like a toothbrush or something like that, right?
How?
If I'm lying, I'm fucking dying.
How do you do that? Yeah. How does that work?
You just, you know,
you just say he endorses this. He's dead.
Yeah.
No.
Remember the old like the sweeper commercials where they had like Fred Astaire dancing with a fucking a Hoover or something of this effect? Shit like that.
Okay.
Ah, I see.
Yeah. Yeah, they were on that trip, and I was like, man, this is this is like some voodoo shit, basically. You know?
Yeah, that sounds like it. It sounds incredibly honest. It reminds me of the Turner Prize, taking the name of Turner when he wants nothing. He would have nothing to do with them, and they name it the Turner Prize.
Yes.
Like that is amazing.
If you're not familiar with Turner was a very one of the greatest painters to ever live, and now they have a prize named after him that they award to,
Like big gaping bubbles and things, and
really bad modern art.
Because he's been dead for 100 years. He can't rise from the grave and say you can't use my name.
Right.
So they just use it.
Yeah. So that's really cool. I'm sure he's stoked about that. I know I would be really happy about my legacy being used for such extension.
Yeah.
When your name's out of copyright. When you're dead, your dead soul's out of copyright.
I can't even imagine. I mean,
and what would you think?
Could that be part of corporate culture? The whole your name's out of copyright, so we're gonna use it and exploit it now that we can legally do that.
Well, they better hope you never get famous is the real thing, because I mean they're just gonna make our fucking corpses spin at light speed in our graves.
Oh, we'll never be famous, yeah. Although they'll exhume us anyways and like line us up like they did with those nuns in the Spanish Civil War.
Yes,
like, line us up like mummies against the wall. Probably. But yeah, so
love it.
Yeah, so they're not like that. They wouldn't be like Yoko Ono, and the corporate culture is, how can you explain it? It is based on that falseness and that fakery and pretending to be competent all the time, and everyone's in this put together in like a hive for at least 8 hours a day, and the goals are obscure and weird, and things go around in circles, and it's all about efficiency, but yet it's not efficient. I mean, these are all the problems. Obviously they work in a way because companies continue and they make money, but there's a value system involved that's permeated everything, is what I think anyways, and it's essentially psychopathic to do with that fakeness. I don't know what, maybe there's not much else to say about it, like other than to point out that, you can see like movies like Office Space and all those ones that they've tried to break it down and mock it, but it is a unique thing. I wouldn't say it's not the same as the Turner Prize crowd. It's like something else. It's a purely kind of, dare I say, you're both American, but very American capitalist consumerist thing.
Yes, I agree.
It's all over the world now. Yeah,
said the magic word.
I can see that.
What, American?
No, yeah, basically it's the same thing at this point. I mean, are they separated? I mean, can you separate them? Is there any way to separate them?
Well, it's like, when you go to buy a product, the packaging could be super glorious, magnificent, make everybody want to buy it. It could be super expensive, but the contents in it is just total crap. It's garbage. It's just, and there's no real, I don't know. No, like it's like the companies don't really care about what the consumer is consuming. They just want to make the most money. So,
and also made in America with international parts. That's my favorite one.
With international slave labor, and toxic plastic. Yeah. Like literally, pretty much. I mean, it is literally the case.
Yeah. No.
So
don't worry, Mr. Irishman. It's coming your way.
Oh, it's here. I say that. I just pinpoint the root. It's everywhere. Facebook and all them have their biggest their hubs for Europe are all here. Like all that is here. Yeah. It's all over. Like, I know people that work there. They tell me about it.
Oh wow, yeah. I bet that's just talking about soul crushing. How's that?
Yeah, it sounds dreadful. Like truly exactly how you would imagine, I guess, but like even worse probably.
Do they have a corporate culture like Google does with the spinny hats? You guys have seen this, right?
Yeah.
No, what's spinny hat?
Oh shit. So all right, so Google, right? They make their employees once a year at like the company seminar wear the hats with the little wheel, the little spinny thing on top, right? Little what's
little
that
pinwheel thingy.
That's a beanie, is it? Is that what
little propeller? It's a little propeller on
top,
my
gosh!
Right? I'm not
like retards.
Yeah. Yeah.
Like here, dress up like retards.
Yeah. Stupid peon. Look what I can get all these serfs to do for me. Hell yeah.
Yeah, I got one buddy in particular. He gives me all the ins and outs, and I keep saying to them, like, is there some way you can get me like unshadow banned and like make them stop harassing me with their fucking Facebook bullshit? But no.
Never.
There's always excuses. But once again, there's that loop of inefficiency. Even though he might be kind of high up and everything, even if I deserve to be shadow banned or not, it's all inconsequential. It's all like just loops of inefficiency circling around each other. Nothing can actually be If anything, it's a miracle if something efficient or proper gets done as what at all. And in between it all are all these people acting fake all the time, and amongst more earnest lunatics who are pushing their own agendas and things as well, obviously. But yeah, I don't know. I don't know how we get out of it.
Where's that bird at?
Is that Harriet?
yours?
That's not me. It's late night here.
Where's
It's probably here.
Nice.
Are you in some lovely pastoral?
It's not
location?
inside or anything. It's just outside. It's just a really loud bird.
Are you?
Yeah.
You're living in some lovely country place, right?
It's a suburban place, but I guess there's enough trees where birds still visit, so that's good.
So you got birds. Wow. I heard one time I was doing one of these. Might have been with himself here, and I heard there was a fox caterwauling out in the. You ever hear a fox like squawk? It's kind of like a cat. Sounds like a zombie.
No.
No.
Yeah.
A zombie cat? I've never heard that.
You've never heard a cat and he's like giving a squawk?
Oh,
Like,
no.
Oh, yes, I have.
Yeah, it's like nothing you'll ever want to hear. It's like the banshee. I mean, your number's up. But yeah, that little bird interlude was nice. Very uncorporate of us.
Yeah.
So Harriet, so let's harass Harriet since she's only here. She's the one that's not normally here.
All right.
So do you have any other corporate jobs?
No, actually, well, let me think. I don't think so. Not like corporate. I mean, I've worked for a corporation, but I was doing like customer service, working cash register sort of thing. So I don't know if that counts. As far as like corporate office job, I've really tried to avoid those at all costs.
That's good. That's good that you could do that. I would have liked to have avoided them as well. I certainly didn't get any use out of them. I did. So between the three of us, I probably did them the most and the longest. And I can't say that out of all that time that I did achieve anything there that I would be remotely proud of or anything but like laughable and embarrassed of. So what is the point? Like,
I mean, you learned that you didn't want to do it.
What?
It's something.
Even people that say they want to do it, you can be the best reason to be there is for money. Let's say you think you're going to make more money than other types of jobs, let's say, but nobody's there. I can't see anybody who's there really loving it. Although some people do seem to love very simplistic social interactions and like get excited about being in a place to like talk about the weather. So I can't speak for everybody. A lot of people do just like that kind of thing.
Yeah, formalities.
You know what I mean? Well, I don't know. At least they claim to. I see people claiming to enjoy things that I do not enjoy. And I don't know if they mean it or not. I can't read their minds.
Probably not.
But, some of them do seem to like it, I guess. But maybe they're psychopaths. Maybe they have no emotions and they're going to like kill somebody.
This brings me to my next point. Is that, do you think there's more human beings than there are souls on the planet?
Well, would you say a psychopath truly has a soul if he has no emotions?
I don't know. It's a good question.
Well, I mean, he's more like an animal anyways.
His muscle memory. Why is he a he? Why are we being so sexist right now?
Well, because the men are more often trying to become killers. The women just,
And I'm over here, the one that's dressed like a cult leader, so.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, usually that's me. I didn't put my thing on them. Yeah, women psychopaths become poisoners and or they become like they don't. A psychopath doesn't necessarily turn to killing. They don't care about anything or people. So you can know them. Some of the I remember seeing something once on how to note their behavior. It'd be like this guy was saying, anyways.
Contact.
Well, there's different stuff. Like if they show on a more brutish level, if they're not that smart, they'll be like silly, stupid things. Like they'll just kind of like, just like silly social faux pas. Like they'll just like fart in front of you or something stupid, or like be, this is not a great example, but this is what he was saying. He pulled it. This guy was a cop, and he said he pulled in a guy, and he knew he had his man because the guy was sitting there like taking off his shoes and waving his socks around. And just generally acting as though he was the only one in the room, if you know what I mean, like sort of animalistically. He was kind of a stupid guy.
Yeah.
So he figured this was the guy because he was acting like other people didn't exist, basically. You know what I mean?
Huh. Okay. Yeah, I'd say a cop would probably be a good person to key out this type of behavior, because they're trained to spot liars and things like that, right?
Yeah, yeah. Yeah, he was saying, or even like weird stuff. He was saying there was another one, and this example was a woman. I think she was caught for, I think it was a murder. I don't remember the details, but she was being arrested, she stopped to, like, she noticed some of her furniture in her house was out of alignment, and she made them stop so she could fix it on the way out. So as in, like, she didn't even care about herself being, she was like, it's weird.
It's weird. Well, that could also just be anxiety. I mean, people respond strangely to aggression.
True. In that case, yeah. I don't know. These were his examples of.
But she was for murder, so yeah, I guess that's a little. I don't know.
I don't know. I remember
it's interesting. It's an interesting psychology. I mean, it's been studied for a very long time. What exactly goes through the mind of the pathological, and that's what it is. It's pathological behavior to basically gain with no consideration of the other, of community, things like that.
Yeah, so if you're working in unison as a corporation in a modern sense, you're all unified by at least pretending your values are the same. Yes. And those are all, you've got the HR slave masters like whipping you into place to make sure your presented values are in alignment. And you all have to just fake your way together. Almost all of them are probably hate each other or against each other somehow. Maybe not. Maybe that's cynical, but certainly they can't all be in agreement completely. the way they have to pretend to be.
Well, no, they have to pretend to, at least, for sure.
Yeah. And then even their goals, like, say, like this guy, well, I won't say too much about him, but yeah, I better not talk too much about who he is. I was going to talk about my friend at Facebook and what he does, but I won't carry on about it just in case. He would not appreciate that.
Yeah, I'm sure not.
Yeah. But all those places are here. Yeah. For the big ones for Europe, Facebook, Google in the downtown here, by the quays, where the docks, they're erecting three giant towers are going up. And in fact, I'm probably out of touch, and they're already up. But last time I saw, they were putting up these 3 enormous towers, just like overlooking the city, and it was all Google. So how's that for dystopian sounding?
They're always
three
watching.
towers. Do you like that talk? You'd like being there in your cubicle, telling somebody some bullshit that they don't need, or whatever the Google people do. What the fuck do they do? They just monitor people. That's what I heard too.
Probably, yeah.
Yeah.
A lot.
A great part of the work is monitoring and checking on things.
Yeah, I have no idea what these people do. I know how many people are employed by these? There's got to be thousands, right? I mean, I know that they do all they have a large swath. They have a whole town in or is that Disney? I can't remember. One or the other has a large community. I mean, Disney, Google, like, what the fuck is the difference?
It doesn't make sense. Complete waste of time, whatever it is.
Yeah,
it's true.
They have Emeryville in California, which is, I'm pretty sure, it's like a Disney community. Like, you live here, you work at Disney, which is, wow. We definitely share values for sure here. Yeah, that we've chosen. It just so happens that everybody that works here thinks and believes the exact same things. Isn't it just fantastic? Well, maybe we should start a community. We have a lot of like-minded people. That's going to work out real well. We'll move to a little town, right? And
take it over.
Yeah, and that's going to work out until the Ruby Ridge or whatever. Can I even say that? I don't know.
I don't know. I probably have to cut it out. You always drop a little something that means I have to go through and cut something out.
Yeah. Just for you, Brendan.
Thanks. Ruby Ridge. Well, I don't know. Is that?
I don't think so. That wasn't. It was. I mean, it was the ATF kind of thing.
I don't know. Yeah, doesn't matter. I guess. Whatever. Fuck it. You guys haven't done much corporate work. That's funny. You guys don't know the hell. You guys don't understand the hell, or how indescribably hellish it really is.
Well, give us a random day in the light of the corporatist.
Well, let me think. A random day. Jesus. I remember going into one, and you had to have this like team meeting thing over a Skype call with a bunch of people, a bunch of assholes. And there'd be this woman who was like the boss's wife, who was like in charge of me. And we just did not agree on anything, first of all. And there was no point to these little calls, just to like have a little chitty chat. And like, they thought this was like team building spirit or morale boosting thing. And it was, utterly pointless and just dehumanizing and, awful. And then you would actually get to work with whatever goals they had lined out. And I remember spending a lot of time going through things, correcting the number. Like a lot of it was graphic design, right? So you're basically putting words over photographs. Mm-hmm. I remember spending a lot of time just swapping out photographs for, make the person here black, make this a woman. And then they go back and say, no, change it again, do this. Like you change that over and over and over again. There'd be like the person after person coming through and deciding that this, how it should be to be just ideal, to be like the ultimate, global, sure. I guess, or whatever. I remember that woman that I was saying on the call, every now and again, she would slip up and say, I love you. I remember that. She would think she was talking to her husband or something, and she would finish the call with like, I love you. I remember laughing at that one, and I hated her. But she didn't mean to. I know that.
But yeah, she was in that auto brain mode.
Yeah.
She never stopped flapping her gums, and she was always on the phone anyway. She didn't know where she was or who she was talking to, probably. I think she was working from home too, like giving out the orders. And she was like literally the boss's wife, so it was just like, okay.
At least she was full of love.
Yeah. But in the end, most of the stuff, anything that was done there, would then go off to India to be done. The greater part of it, and then would come back dysfunctional and broken, and you'd have to like basically redo it all. This is another example of the supposed efficiency. Like, we're saving money by getting it done in India, and then we'd have to go through and fix it all again. That's what I remember. That it would just be like hopeless and a waste of time. But yet, that's the process. Couldn't be stopped. It happened over and over. So that's an example. But how's that for an example?
That works. Yeah.
So there you go. Maybe we don't have much to say about it beyond that. Maybe I summarize it in like right from the beginning, and like that was it. There's nothing else to say about it. You guys aren't the corporate drones. I just thought just about everybody has corporate stories, or like they've been forced into it. But I guess you're both been fortunate enough to not do that.
I mean, I've had a little bit. Yeah. I mean, it wasn't anything I had to spend an immense amount of time on. I did work at an advertising firm for like a week in LA, and that was about my entire experience with that. It sucked. We made billboards for realty, and it was the design work was, do I want to use a red square to put my text on or a blue square to put my text on, because I'm going to be using the same images. And yeah, that was
font a lot of fun. Styles, stuff like that.
I feel challenged creatively here. I'm being put through the ringer of imagination. And,
yeah, exactly. Yeah, your actual talent is like squandered on nothing. And it doesn't matter even if you feel you have some modicum of talent. Like, say, I would present something knowing that I've at least have some experience with this design stuff, and like someone like that woman or somebody else who knows nothing about it would just like, because they're above you, would totally supersede the whole thing and change it, and just think they know better. Or that would often happen just even with clients, even on your own. They'd be like, you'd present something, but they'd have an idea of what they want, even though they know nothing about it, and it would just kind of, they'd end up ruining things, unless you can wrangle them and get them under control and just sort of like say, no, you're going to do it this way and shut up. And
Sure.
sometimes you can do that. You need to, really, especially if you really do know what you're doing. But there's always, in the corporate structure, there's always someone above you that doesn't know what they're doing. And not only do they not know what they're doing, this is a good example of the shit that goes on. There'd be these people that sort of assume charge of things, and they don't seem to have any real skill, like I said, and they have nothing more than that psychopathic kind of bluster about themselves, where they just people that just talk and assume charge of things. You know people like this in your life, I'm sure, right?
Sure.
And they would. What was my point there? I've lost it again. What would they do? Fuckers. I don't know. They would decide anyways what was going to happen and how it was going to go all the way through. And anything you present, they would not rely on you and your innate talent. Let's say, even though it's like shitty graphic design and it's hard to pretend you even care about it. But
sure,
as far as it went, I had some experience, let's say, and not just me, but like everybody else that was under them. They would just come sweeping through and just change it all and make it all. It didn't even matter. It didn't matter that it looked good or didn't look good. It just had to like go up the chain of command and be slightly changed by these various managerial types along the way till it reached the top. And then you'd have to, and generally by then it'd be so watered down and washed out, and just like through all the stages and people that had to go through, anything remotely creative would be gone and just get closer to the branding ideal, which would be like a certain shade of green or yellow or stupid fucking thing. And it just had to be that over and over again. Like, their basic font or whatever. Like, I don't know. That was an elaborate and strange way of explaining it, but I don't know. Maybe it made sense, did it? What do you think? Reyes, what do you think? Hi, Reyes.
I think it made sense somewhat.
Good. Good. So in your one day, so you worked one day, you said, is it?
No, I worked about a month.
Right. And how were your sales? Did you sell?
I don't even remember, to be honest. They were probably really bad, but they were like, the people would still encourage me. They'd be like, oh, you're doing fine. And I'm sitting here like, if this is fine, like you must have some really bad employees that are just god awful, because I wasn't even trying.
So you didn't actually care about it then? Is that even when you were there? You were
it's not that like I cared about the job. Obviously, I wanted to make some money, but I didn't care about it enough to try to convince people they should buy something they didn't want to buy. If someone was just like adamantly like, no, I don't want this, and I wasn't going to be like, yes, you do, and here's why. So I just be like, okay, you have a good day.
And there are still people worse than you at this, right?
Yeah. Yep. There were people worse than me. And I guess maybe those people tried. I don't even know. I mean,
they probably did that. They probably said, you're buying this, that's probably the
bit. Buy this, please.
Yeah. Buy this now or else.
Mm-hmm.
Were some of them there a long time?
You can't see me shaking my fist, but I am,
That's what I feel bad for. You see people that have been like in these environments for like 10 or 20 years. And it's like, and they seem pretty, I don't know. They've been shaped by it, let's say. It's kind of slavery in a strange way.
Yeah.
You can rail about these things in the world. The way it's evolved is strange. Did I freeze up for a minute there?
Yeah, for a sec.
You did. Yeah.
But you're back.
Yeah. But yeah, I mean, what else? What can we say about it? Just another thing to complain about, I guess.
Yeah.
But it is a horrific, viral, cancerous thing for corporate culture on its own. I do think it's a great malaise. And I mean, to fix it, you'd have to start, like I said, start from the beginning. Change the way you do a job interview so you don't have to just be like Mr. Fake Guy. I don't know how you would do it. There should be a way to just honestly present exactly who or what you are. I mean, maybe people do that, do they? And it was just me that's thinking you have to be fake. No, I'm pretty sure you have to be fake. You can't just like. And they'd ask you those goofy questions, like, they would ask you, what are your weaknesses and things like this, but it was only kind of throw you off. I remember once being honest about that. I remember saying, I thought, okay, they really want to know.
Cocaine, no.
Yeah. Yeah. No, like I said, I'm kind of absent-minded or something like that. And they didn't like that. And I was like, okay. So that's the one time I was honest about it.
Wait a minute. You have flaws? No way. No.
I remember them being kind of shocked, like, oh. I was like, oh, yeah, so you didn't really want to know that. What?
I guess my weakness is I try too hard. You know, this kind of shit, right?
I did have a friend who would be like, he would get jobs. I remember being outrageous. And I think he said he went into one once wearing shorts and like red cowboy boots, just to like be a jagoff or whatever. And he apparently got the job. What could you possibly say when you show up like dressed like a clown? Like, that is maybe the best way to do it. Is like know somebody and be given a job, and then you can at least go about it and not be forced to take it too seriously. As long as you that's one thing I noticed that disappeared over the years. Let's say in the old days, it would still be fake, and all the rest of it expected. You kind of joke around, and everyone would kind of laugh at it. They wouldn't you wouldn't. Now they'd force you to take it seriously. That's the big difference between the old way and the new way.
Well, I mean, it's, you know, you got the application process where some of these places like, you know, the hardware stores and whatnot will make you fill out like a 2-hour application before even being considered. And so, you know, this non-dedication and how serious you have to be with trying to, oh, please consider me to do you know, this soulless brain crushing work, please, I beg of you, right? You know,
it should just be like, okay, you know, I'll do it.
Like I
that.
think my next job interview, if I have to, I'm going to hide a flying V guitar on me, and when they invite me into the office, I'm just going to fucking start shredding. That's it. It's just it, dude.
Great, yeah. That'd be good, yeah.
Wow.
So you were lucky with your jobs, not to have to do these kind of jobs. I had to do lots of them. Jesus.
I mean,
some of them
I
were
did
good.
a bunch of bullshit too, dude. It's not like I'm fucking, you know, I still do bullshit. A lot of the time, it is what it is. You know, I've been able to get by pretty well for the last few years. Is she out or what? What's going on with her?
Yeah, it looks like she vanished.
Well, that's unfortunate.
I don't think there's anything I can do.
But I mean, with the
it says she chose to mute herself, either by accident or she's had enough, and she buggered off, or
hey, I don't blame her. No, I'm kidding.
She didn't really, or why would it say it's just like technically at her end? I don't think I can do anything. Hold on. Solo layout? What the fuck is that? No.
Do we want to stop and wait or what?
Hold on. Let me check her on Twitter. See what happens.
Yeah.
I'm here.
There you are.
Oh, there.
I typed in the chat for StreamYard. I don't know if you guys saw it. I said I'd be right back.
I do see a red flag that says
it's a quick little emergency that I had to tend to.
Oh, okay.
Sorry about that.
Okay. Chat. I see. There's a chat over here. Yeah, I've never used this.
Did you get rid of the bird? Is that what you did?
BRB.
You went and got rid of the bird, didn't you?
I did. I was like, that bird is so loud. It's very distracting.
Yeah. Yeah. What else? Yeah.
Yeah. Well, you know, what were we talking about? We did keep talking, but it's all gone.
Flying V guitars, right?
Oh yeah, going to a job interview with flying V guitar.
Yeah.
So Hiraeus. Just kidding. Hiraeus. If you go into a job interview, what do you normally do?
It depends on the job interview, actually. I know that's the lame answer, but it's the truth, because you kind of, you know, when you're going to meet somebody, like you kind of go based on the feel of it. I mean, I guess I just intuitively kind of go with the flow, and it wouldn't be the same thing for every interview. It depends on the job. It depends on the person who's interviewing you and their tone and the way that they're.
Oh, really? So that's more of like a sly woman's way to do stuff. I would never. I don't recall even like trying to study, or maybe do you do this, Aaron, too? I I have the same thing I'm going to say or do regardless of what or who the person is. There's no way I could try to read like what they expect from me. I'm not good at that kind of thing.
Yeah. I don't know.
Would you do that?
Sometimes I try to read them a little bit. If I see, something they're into, maybe I'll bring that up. If they've, got it hanging on their wall or whatever. Sometimes, not all the time.
You mean their photo behind them of some guy scaling a mountain with "You can do it"?
Yeah, absolutely. That.
I like mountain climbing too.
Yeah, I too can do it. Yeah, exactly. So,
I like that.
Well, like they'll ask you a question and you can answer one question and then you get their reaction. And that's kind of how, for me, that I gauge how the interview is going to go or where I should take it. I'm like, okay, well, obviously they did not like my answer for that, or they did like my answer for that. Maybe I should be a little bit more reserved or something, or maybe I should try to be a little bit more personable,
Wow.
depending on who you're talking to.
You're being on your feet with that kind of interaction, is it?
I mean, I'm still pretty awkward, so no, I'm not that great at it, but I try. Okay. Or I have tried in the past.
Right.
But that's part of the whole, you want to get the job, so you're trying to be what they want you to be. And that's part of that whole fake thing, that you were talking about before. So I hate that that plays into it, but it does, especially when you're trying to land a corporate job. Yeah.
Yeah, I can never do that. I just kind of lay it. Even in any normal interaction, I just kind of lay it out and just like see what happens. Not good at judging what people expect. And I just sort of notice if they have behaviors themselves or say things that I don't know what they're on about. I kind of try to guess then, okay, I try to guess where they're at that way, but I can never, in an interview or something like that, I don't know. I wouldn't be so good myself at being on your feet with talking with somebody, engaging what they expect. Or actually, if I was, I wouldn't care. Even in that situation, it's very hard for me to care. I think it's like a problem I have. It's not like as if I think I'm, too cool for school. It's more like, it's like a problem where it'd be to my benefit to care about that, but I don't. And I just,
it's good. I think it's better to be honest, but I kind of just get in the mind frame of like, if I were the people who started this company or who run this company, what would I look for in employees? What would I want? What would I want to see over what I don't want to see and stuff like that. And so that's kind of what I would try to think about in an interview.
Yeah, but that's where the dishonesty comes in, where it's like, okay, you're hiring somebody to be who they are, theoretically, supposedly, and versus you're both going into a loop then of expectations that may or may not, you could both be in like fairyland about it. He is expecting you then to read him and behave accordingly. And this is like the funny game.
Yeah. I do think there's a lot of that. I think there is a lot of unspoken kind of conversation involved with corporate culture. Things that you're supposed to know. You're just supposed to know it already. You're not. Yeah. There's no. And that gets a lot of people in trouble, especially new employees, because they're not told to think or be doing this. I mean, it's like the aspect of pretend like you're working. We've all heard this, right? Where you have all your work done, and then somebody you're supposed to pretend like you're doing something when the boss comes by, right? And that's just it's an offshoot. Kind of symptom of capitalism right there. I mean, that's the only reason that you would have this kind of behavior. It's to make it seem like, you're going above and beyond for, your minimum wage or whatever the fuck, right? Your tiny bit of, payment you're getting out of this.
Yeah. Well, the main thing, I mean, in any work is the goal, the end goal, the product, or the, your work, your ability to do the work well and to work hard and be smart about it. But it has to be within a framework of guidelines that are laid out that make sense. Otherwise, if it's just like a social thing to go around in various managerial circles, again, to be commandeered by these various psychopaths who will just arbitrarily change it whatever way they want, it just seems like, well, how can you, I just have a problem like grabbing onto anything to see like what's the goal and what should I do? Like, I don't know, it's hard. Not that I'm very far distance from this and I don't care. It seems to me they don't ever produce anything of any value. They've certainly
Yeah.
lost the knack for that. And so it's to do with that, getting lost in these circles of expectations and social and the psychopathic managerial types that just like take things off where they want, or and even they are acting on what they expect from the guy above them. And then it's like the guy at the top, number one, is like some ghost that nobody can guess or knows what he wants.
Right. The goal is to make people you hate and people that hate you successful. That's the goal, basically.
Yeah, successful.
So
within their little criteria, and even within
yeah,
the silly little goal of the thing you set out to make or do, it'll get ruined along the way. Even by like the goalposts that are set out that you try to make sense of, even though you still kind of hate it. You were like, okay, but at least I can do this to the best I can possibly do. But no, you'll be stopped, and you have to do it somebody else's way.
yes, absolutely. And then there's things like YouTube algorithms that if you're doing your best job, that's bad. Because now,
What do you mean? How do you mean?
well, you know how the YouTube algorithms, they create they were so successful in their processes that they were linking people with things that they were actually interested in, and of course that means bad, real bad. So that had to be toned down, and therefore
that's a great example. Yeah, because it's not just that they've like stepped back into inefficiency where they like, let's remove the algorithm. They've like stepped forward and like created a massive machine of idiocy of like investment of money and people and labor to actually just keep it going, but make it more complex in its dysfunction. So that it doesn't.
Well, it's like they're trying to tell you what you want to watch instead of letting the algorithm actually like give you stuff that's similar to what you've already watched. Now they're just like, well, I don't care what you've already watched. We want you to watch this, which is totally unrelated to what you've been watching.
Yeah. And when in fact it'd be better just to not have any algorithm at all and just like do whatever.
Yeah,
pretty much.
So it's that kind of weird, overly complex stupidity and like wasteful time wasting bullshit. And over some strange values, but anyways, whatever. YouTube, I don't know. We dare not this. I do have a what's that new thing? Odyssey. I should try putting.
What is that?
Oh,
what's going on there?
It sounds like a good alternative to YouTube. It's some kind of peer-based thing where it's supposedly untamable in terms of censorship and so forth, and people seem excited about it. So I'd start an account. I might try uploading there, but I'm not ready to just surrender.
You can sync your YouTube to it. That's what I did. So I'm on there as well. A lot of people have been jumping on there lately. But it's supposed to be like a decentralized blockchain type thing, which I still don't really understand what that means. But
you're talking like Bitcoin?
Well, it was originally, I don't know. I'm not really sure. They do have their own cryptocurrency involved in this.
All right.
It's something to do with the servers, I thought, where it's like you can't, because it's What did you said? What was one of the words you said? It basically means that the videos are like sourced from all over the place, so you can't
decentralized.
Yeah, that's it. Yeah, so they can't like pinpoint them and just kind of remove them or censor them somehow. It's more.
Yeah, supposedly you can't get censored by one particular person or company. But then again, DLive said the same thing, and they've been kicking people off. So I think that
they weren't the same decentralized thing, were they? Exactly.
No, they're not the same company, or they're owned by different people. So
yeah.
I'm not really sure how. I'm honestly not entirely sure how it works. I've looked into it a little bit, but not enough to really know what I'm talking about. So
yeah. I'll try to stay on YouTube though, anyways, for as long as I can. But so when you say you linked your YouTube account, does that not mean if YouTube did shut you down that it would screw your videos on Odyssey?
No, it just links it for, and then it takes like a couple days and it syncs everything that's already on your YouTube up to Odyssey, and it just uploads it. So it's already uploaded. So even if you get kicked off YouTube, then all the videos are still there on Odyssey.
Oh, I didn't know that. Oh, really?
Yeah.
That is quite something. Okay. That's handy. Because
very handy.
Shit. Yeah, that's well worth doing then.
Yeah, it is. I think so.
I mean, YouTube is just so ridiculous. I mean, everything's ridiculous. We can't can't even talk about it. So whatever. But it is a perfect example of corporate culture bullshit. Just the fact that they couldn't even be smart enough to just like withdraw any use of algorithm at all, but they have to like get some complex, wasteful, hire like another billion people to just make sure the algorithm is just annoying and just more or less does nothing.
Yeah, there probably is another complex, system in place there just to, direct it into either obscure or the correct content you need to see, basically, and that'll just keep on going as morale continues to dwindle. And I'm excited to see that change. That it's going to be. We're all going to get there together. And
Well, yeah, it'll take a while, but yeah, it's true. They are going to collapse from their own fucking stupidity. I'm sure.
It's a transition we're going to have to make.
Yeah. Yeah. No, it's true. I mean, what can be said? That's the YouTube. So
nice things, apparently, unless you want to get banned.
Here it's how long have you been on the YouTube? Have you got a lot of videos up there?
I do have a lot of videos. I've been on there about a little over a year, I think. So yeah, I think I got on there 2019.
All right.
I'd have to check. I'm so bad about this. Like the years have just been going by, and then this past year was just nuts. So
sure.
I don't know when I started doing these, but it's been less than a year, I think.
Yeah.
But we pump out quite a few. Me and you did like one a week for like a while there.
Yeah, I mean, I
don't know. The quality is like, but you can what? Sometimes each one to be something that's entertaining at least, or informative. I'm sure. Like
I hope.
People tell me there are, but
yeah, that's good.
I don't know. Whatever.
I mean,
I listened to the Jackson Pollock one. I really enjoyed it.
Oh,
I didn't get to listen to. I mean, I don't know. I don't have time to listen to as many podcasts as I like these days, but I did enjoy that one.
Oh, good.
All right, yeah, Jackson
that was
Pollock.
fun. Yeah,
that was a while ago now.
Yeah,
that was like that was the first one where we chose. I think wasn't it the first one where we chose?
I think so.
A figure from art history and
just shit on them. Couldn't entirely
I think you referred to it as like ketchup mustard or something, right?
I don't know. Did I?
But either way, that's what it looks like to me. It looks like just like ketchup mustard, just squirting it all over the canvas.
Oh yeah. Okay, I got you. Yeah, with the squeeze bottles. Sure.
Yeah.
Have you seen them restoring his paintings? That's the funniest thing. So there's some guy like going in, like finding, mindfully replacing the splatters, and like taking seriously. Like I saw it in like some Guardian or something article, and I was like, oh,
wow, that's beautiful. I'm glad they did that. Where would we be without these masterpieces? My God.
No, I don't. And yet, still, I get grief from people who I would think know better. Well, I mean, everyone has their subjective opinion as well as their objective truth, but people that complaining about, oh no, you just don't understand. What was that guy? Well, I won't name names, I guess, but anyways, he was saying that there's fractals. If you study the splatters long enough, they're like mathematically fractalizing.
Oh yeah,
or whatever. And you can literally watch a video of Pollock just going. He's got a cigarette in his mouth and he's like flinging paint like this. It's not thought out. He's just like literally boom, boom, boom.
Yeah.
It's just fucking no. There's fractals and everything, anyways. Like,
yeah,
stupid excuse to make.
Well,
that was somebody like I really should know better. That like a smart person, but some people just
they're cowards.
Well,
smart people are cowards.
No, this guy would not be a coward either. No, this is one of those surprising ones where it was like, I don't know what his reason is. He just wants to like it. He wants to believe in modernism. So,
I mean, you want to believe in modernism? Huh? That sounds fun. That sounds religious.
That does sound great.
Yeah, it sounds religious is what that sounds like.
Mm.
I want to believe. Isn't that the old that's the old X-Files poster, right?
Yeah, so I guess that's all we can say about corporate culture and psychopathy.
It sucks, and it
It creates psychopaths in the workforce, really bad ones.
Bring it down stone by stone, please.
Well, it's either that or it brings itself slowly, very, very slowly down, and takes everything in the world with it until like the world is like a trash heap of plastic, and like we're literally like sitting in the shadow of a mountain of like of like a landfill everywhere, and like rivers just like filled with plastic flowing past with products, lovely discarded products
That we designed.
like you see in India and these places. You ever see like people sitting and like there's a river going by and it's like nothing but trash.
If I made a career as a product label designer and whatnot, it would be nice to take a trip to India and see my product designs floating down the shit in like Dead Body River. It'd be pretty great. I think I'd be very happy with that.
Yeah.
Life goals right there.
Yeah, but a lot of them are aware of that. It doesn't seem to bother them. That's another, like, maybe they're psychopath.
I don't think a lot of people look at it as work. They don't look at it as accomplishments. They don't look at it as, their portfolio is basically a means of getting another 40 to 60 hours a week at another company instead of a project being accomplished, a masterpiece being created. So it's just a different kind of way of viewing, your time in the physical form. And I hate it real bad. Obviously, and this is why I'm here where I am.
Well, the three of us are saying, so we're artistic types. So we see something as you have a project, an artistic project or whatever, and you like just work at it and do it the best you can, and it's done, and that's it. So someone like those more routine worker type people see it merely as a matter of what wage am I earning? I must go somewhere for 8 hours a day and do something. They don't care about the goal maybe so much, or the end, the end result of the labor. It's just like the labor itself, and it must be paid for. Is all they really want.
Trying to put food on the table, sort of thing.
Yeah, I mean, we all have to do that as well. That's like a consideration, but it's like it takes over or something.
Well, a lot of the people that are in the advertising industry are they're children of the wealthy, children of the upper middle class. I mean, there's not a lot of blue collar, rural type people that are going and getting into the game of advertising and getting into the game of. There are some, obviously. I'm not saying there isn't, but it's a social climb. You're in this business to be a part of the metropolitan fixture. You want the barcades, you want the the fucking Indian restaurants, you want the fucking you want all this kind of shit, and that it makes up the civilized urban society. And by civilized, I mean, the hipsters and all this kind of stuff. I mean, I don't know if they still are hipsters or the thing, or is it we're calling them bug people at this point? But
hipsters, I don't know. Are they?
I don't know.
We need a youthy person like Hiraeth to tell us this.
Hey, I think we're the hipsters. In all honesty, I think
we were hipsters, and what are they now?
They're
censored off.
They're censored off Twitter.
Young. We're too old. We don't know what.
They're probably like, I don't know.
Are they still hipsters?
Environmentalists. Those are the new hipsters. But like not the real environmentalists that actually care. The ones that are just using it as like
science is real. Is that the one?
There's different types of hipsters. There's the real weedy bug person who's like, disgusting to behold. Or there's the like kind of craft beer he might like kind of look like me, but like be more. Well, he wouldn't look like a hobo like I do. He'd like have his hair would be nicely cut and his beard nicely trimmed, but he'd be like a beardy guy with craft beer, and he may not look revolting, but he'll wear like fashionable shoes, and his trousers will be too tight, and he'll be annoying. He'll talk about fucking Star Wars or something. You know, I don't know.
Hey man, Star Wars is pretty cool.
Or like, you know, he'll be like the person is like just a fucking wretch, like a goblin that crawled out from, you know, a storm drain or something. Like
Sure.
just like, you know. So there's different tiers. So when I think of hipster, I think
different tiers. This is true.
Yeah, there's all different types.
There is though. There is, you know, of annoyance. I mean, basically, where do they go?
People that fall into, and even like say many, like a real basic tier hipster is aware that he's sort of adopting a role that he's decided to slip into, like a costume, and he knows just the right bands to talk about amongst his little circle, whether or not he really likes them or not. I don't know how honest he can be about it. You know, he won't like be utterly frank he won't have a like sincere opinion, or he'll be a little bit psychopathic in that way, where he'll be adopting a role and pretending. You know.
Yes, I do know.
I actually think more. I think more people are psychopathic than we realize. This is another factor thing.
This society is breeding psychopaths.
Yeah.
Psychopathy, whatever the fuck.
I would say it celebrates mental illness in general.
Absolutely.
For sure.
Yeah.
No lie.
It does. Yeah.
And also people that can't phonetically say psychopathy.
Well, that's us. Apparently, that's us. But
well, especially like the narcissistic aspect, which I guess could be a trait of psychopathy.
Yeah.
We can't even say it. Wow, you're such expert.
But
yes, agreed.
Yeah, I mean, with like the whole like Instagram selfie culture, everything's like online and impersonal with social media, so that could contribute to, you know, psychopathy. Wait,
got it.
Whatever, yeah,
psycho behavior or whatever. Yeah.
Well, that seems to be like, say, like on Twitter, that's another thing where there's a whole lot of people, more than people realize, who haven't like delved into it or looked into some of these circles of people with like either anime or furry, you know, avatars that are like, maybe I shouldn't talk about this. Maybe it's too risky. But you know, okay, people that are, that's a whole other thing. That they aren't hipsters. They're probably bugman type people, you can say officially, and they're like, you know, they'd be like have some weird sexual fetish that they're very open about, and you know, there's hordes and hordes of them on there like that. I don't know how many are bots, or I suspect a lot of them are genuine. Like I don't know. You just reminded me when you're talking about people online interacting that way. There's a whole lot of them that are like, yeah, I think they're quite young that are like that. You two probably have witnessed this to a certain degree, yes? On Twitter, people on Twitter, no?
There's a lot of people on Twitter that suck. Yeah, there's
a lot of really weird people on Twitter.
But like, you can go into and look at a group, or it's like you know, one of these, like, you know, people in a group are like following a page,
and
or whatever.
Check their progressive stack.
Well, there'll be like hundreds of thousands of people with nothing but like furries and anime avatars.
Yeah,
and they'll all be talking about, you know, I don't know. There'll be like a lot of them. It seems like a lot.
It is a lot, and it's increasing. I mean, it's almost like there's a culture that supports this type of behavior. Almost. Isn't that shocking? It's so crazy. There's an influx of them, and there's more on TV, and there's more being paraded in the news, and you know, as like a virtuous lifestyle choice. Wow, it's really a bizarre thing that happens there. I wonder how that happens.
That's what makes me theorize that the average person is more like a psychopath maybe and we are like really the abnormal type of human, even though it seemed in the past it wasn't more the case. But you know, the fact that you could just through media control or through influence, you know, convince someone to, you know, dress up like a dog and have like, you know, crazy, you know, perversions and
sure.
You know,
in all seriousness,
en masse.
in all seriousness, I would like to, extend to our viewers that no, they're the crazy ones. We're the ones that are in line with how humans would interact or would react to this type of behavior for thousands of years. They would shut it down vehemently and try to pursue the healthier aspects of a society at large. No, they're the nutcases. We're the normal people.
Well, okay. So, but my point was, if the average normal person can be convinced to do almost anything, to adapt their morals and their behavior so easily, it would be it might be a case that the normie is a bit more narcissistic and psychopathic than we realize, and like the average person is more like that, and then you might think we might think that really deep down the average person is really thinking like us, and they're just scared to do this or that, but maybe not. Maybe it's a real anomaly to actually think about what you're doing and to be out to dare to do something antisocial, let's say.
Like I said, it brings back to the question: are there more humans or more souls? Or more people, more beings better than humans, I guess. Are there more beings than souls on the planet? And so why is that? And how did that happen? And where are the souls going?
I think a lot of this stuff comes from like people's, I don't know if it's necessarily psychopathy. I think people are just easily manipulated often. And it's like they're getting sucked into this idea that the stranger they are, like with this furry culture and weird stuff like that, that the more they'll be accepted, and that this is cool now. Like it's cool to be a furry, or it's cool to,
absolutely,
to have a mental illness or to identify this way. And so it's like people want to go out of their way to be as in what would normally be super fringe or really rare. They want to like find that, and then it'll be celebrated. So they'll be like more. Does that make any sense? Like it seems like they're trying to make it to where it's like, So it's like people are identifying with things they wouldn't normally identify with simply because they think they'll be praised for it, or it'll help them be accepted more into the social norm. Whereas they might actually be pretty normal if they weren't identifying with this one trait they might have or whatever. Maybe they try to focus on something else, but it's really strange.
That's true. But that does still leave me thinking, like, if they're so easily adaptable that way and without any inner monologue to cease them from just being manipulated into something just for social credit, or, I don't know. It still speaks of a fundamental difference. I don't know, something strange. Maybe they're not psychopaths, but maybe there's another. Maybe like 75% of everybody can be diagnosed with a syndrome. in between, like maybe certain narcissism and Ted Kaczynski used to say over socialized. I thought that was a great term because it's very much social, overly concerned with where the social pressure overrides any internal value concern. Or that's what I think about it. Here, I'm going to run out to the bathroom. This is the great thing about having two of you. You can both talk or do something. I'll be back.
All right. So,
well, you go.
What you just said is very interesting, because basically, instead of having an artistic outlet or a craft outlet as people used to in the past, now they create their identity in kind of with the same effort as they did with art or music, and that's basically what you're seeing now. I mean, I think, obviously this is being pushed. People are being pushed to behave in this manner. But
yeah, it's like the YouTube algorithms, or selling people newspapers, the rebuttals, and all that stuff, trying to get people to think in a certain way, like literally trying to change thought patterns, which is interesting.
Yeah, agreed. Yeah, it's really bizarre state.
There's like a whole psychology behind marketing, and I think that that's just been taken to a whole different level with all sorts of things.
Well, have you seen the Century of the Self?
What's that?
Mm-mm.
You haven't seen you should check it out. It's a 4-hour documentary. It's on YouTube. I'm pretty sure it is as of right now, but it's about Edward Bernays and his and his
I know who he is.
Yeah.
Getting the women to smoke cigarettes.
He created the sauce, Bernays sauce. No, I'm kidding. I'm glad you got that. Anyway,
his descendant actually founded Netflix.
Yeah, I've heard.
Yeah,
that. That's pretty neat.
It's true.
Yeah, there's a whole
fun fact.
whole family there of of intellectual manipulation, from Freud to Bernays to that guy. I don't know his name. Freud. But Century of the Self is really good. I definitely advise checking it out. Yeah, as Brendan was saying, the advent of smoking for women was created as a advertising ploy by Edward Bernays for the feminist movement, where they would bring the cigarette out from under their dress and light it as like a psychological penis extension. And so he killed millions of women doing this, which is
the goal was to sell more cigarettes. So he invented a campaign to appeal to feminists, saying this is like a feminist thing to smoke, because women sort of didn't do it. So it was all based on, he saw an opening there to exploit, I guess.
Yep. Yeah. Pretty neat.
Yeah.
And this was around the suffragettes, not like the second wave feminists or the third wave. I mean, Yeah,
it's a long time ago. Yeah. So that's very much the corporate attitude right there. That's like, oh, let's, any way to make a buck kind of thing. Let's exploit the, that's the root of it there. The fakeness, and it's all just to do with money. And when to be honest, I'm not against smoking, to be like that people should be allowed to smoke. I sometimes smoke a pipe. So like I wouldn't be anti-smoking per se. So in that sense, I could see smoking as a goal in which you need a product to sell, and it requires there should be an efficient chain of command and a system that allows you to buy tobacco and what you need to smoke if you should so want. So there's nothing inherently wrong with that in a sense of commerce or whatever. But it's like when they get into these manipulations and these kind of fakery and this like psychology, like that Bernays, Freudian stuff, and it's all
they use these marketing tactics to try to convince people that but it's not just selling you cigarettes, it's selling you an idea along with cigarettes. So it's like for the women thing, it's like you don't just want to smoke cigarettes. You want to smoke cigarettes because it's going to make you more independent or more a stronger woman if you smoke cigarettes. That sort of thing. Yeah.
You know what it reminds me of? I'll tell you. I knew two guys when I was younger who were like sort of pickup artists with women. And they were like really good at like, so anytime you go out, they'd like talk up some woman and like they'd have her, like, it'd be no problem. They were masters at it. But anytime I tried to witness their manipulations, it was the most fucking awful thing I ever overheard. It was like, basically, I remember this one guy, and every time it was the same. He would basically talk and convince this poor woman that it was once again, it was like Bernays. It was like basically her feminist, empowered, free-thinking feminist duty to have sex with him, more or less. He would just do it with like a snaky, salesman-y talk, and it worked. And I remember just being like horrified. It reminds me, it's the same kind of thing, like just exploitative manipulation of language through like they know that's a weakness. They know that's some way you can, in terms of women, you can reach them that way, and so they've done it over and over again.
Right.
Yeah, I mean, I think women generally are very community oriented, so they want to, that social acceptance matters a lot to them. They care about a lot about what people think of them and stuff like that, which goes back to the whole like selfie culture or identifying with mental illnesses or really weird things that wouldn't be considered normal in the past, because they want the attention for it or whatever.
Yeah. What can you tell us about that? Because I'm curious about that. Women do seem to like attention, like as a. Do you feel this? Do you feel this attention thing yourself, or can you explain it?
I mean, I don't know. I mean, I like it. Like if somebody likes a song I wrote, I'm like, that's cool. But it's because I work hard to write this song. So I don't know if that would be a woman thing.
No, because men would feel that. Anybody would feel that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, I think that social acceptance can be, it's a person thing, but with women, I think that there is a weird vanity going on in the culture today. And I think, I don't really know. I'm not sure exactly how to pinpoint why that is. Yeah, I'm not really sure.
They automatically get a lot of attention for being like beautiful, as you know, when they're young, right? So they get a lot of attention. So that is it like they get like a junkie where they get hooked on attention because of that or something? Like
maybe could be.
You know what I mean? Like when you or something.
It's the likes, you know, the whole advent of Facebook using its mechanism, much like the human brain, where it lights up reward centers and releases dopamine.
Yeah, it's like being feeling like a sense of validation from the amount of attention you get online instead of getting that from like within, from your sense of accomplishment or something which would be healthy, you know, because obviously if you work really hard for something and then you finish it, you should have this natural sense of accomplishment. You should be proud of it, and that sort of thing. And obviously if people like it too, then that's great, but you shouldn't just do stuff just for the likes or getting that gratification from outside of yourself necessarily, if that makes sense. I mean, obviously there's a balance, I think.
Well, we all need a certain amount of outside gratification. I could work on some.
I mean, you don't want to be like selfish, but.
Well, I have like worked in the dark on things like nobody else cares about, and maybe never will. I don't know, but you know, it is real. You know internally if it meets the criteria you set for yourself, it is still like a job and a goal you can do that's like fulfilling, but you do need a balance. You do need to have a certain amount of social acceptance, and you can. That's one thing about the internet that's good, is that you can reach out and find people that are across the world that might be sort of like-minded, you know, that you did not have the option to before, where it was like based totally on your locality and your whatever luck you had with people around you immediately in terms of like a similarity of opinion on things. I mean, there's good. It's one of those double-sided coins where you can find validation in like-minded people for something you're interested in or working on, but that can also mean at the same time you can find validation for things that are maybe not, you know, not great as well.
Yeah. I mean, I think there's there's definitely a healthy balance. If you're seeking this if you seek the validation, if it becomes like an addiction, like seeking this attention or this validation from other people through like artificial means, like likes or followers or stuff like that, and that's why you're putting out pictures or doing whatever it is that you're doing to get these likes, or then I think that that's not a good thing. It's like that's basically your crack or your whatever kind of drug, you know.
And the content farmers are already working on, you know, anteing up on the likes and you know how that works with TikTok, and then you know which leads to OnlyFans. I mean, this is the push. It's the push of you know. If you're chasing, it is like drugs. I mean, obviously, that's where people start. They start out, you know, as teenagers getting likes, and then they get a TikTok when they're, you know, a little bit older, and then, you know, when they're of legal age, these colleges are trying to push people into this idea, this narcissistic kind of release spectrum that is this medium, this revolution of sorts. I mean, you've seen this, right? The OSU campus just came out with a seminar to like get girls in the OnlyFans. I mean, it's just disgusting. Really? Yeah, no joke.
On a campus university.
Yeah.
Really?
Yeah, I mean, it's just
I didn't know that
absolutely-
about the universities. That's crazy.
Yeah, no,
Why?
they are. The universities are letting them hold seminars that are basically showing young girls how to start their own OnlyFans, and yeah.
Okay.
So this is this is culturally supported behavior. It's not so much in the dark. That these aren't like grumpy whispers. In the community. No, the cultural center.
Grumpy
is,
whispers. I never had that. Yeah.
I could have said. I should have said. I could have took my time with that. Honestly.
Good. Grumpy whispers. I know exactly.
I
what
like
you mean.
it. I like it.
All right, good. Grumpy whispers. There we go. There's a song now. So yeah, I mean it's really
No, that's
really
fucking disgusting. Yeah, that
yeah,
really
it's
did.
great. It's really 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 good.
It's not surprising.
Yeah, when stuff like that becomes the social norm, something's not quite right with the way things are in the world.
Yeah, agreed. That's why we're here.
Yeah, froze up for a minute there.
I saw that.
But yeah.
Either that or you're doing a good, still impression there. You ever seen that?
Yeah.
Like when you're like in New Orleans, or you're down in some major busking area where somebody paint themselves silver and stand still like a statue.
Oh,
Or like the
I hate
robots
those
or mimes or something.
Yeah.
I hate those assholes. Yeah, they're all over down
Yeah, I
there.
fucking hate them too. Yeah, I fucking hate them, dude.
Maybe they'll
Steal my
jump to
fucking
some
money.
kid and scare him and like think they're great. Yeah.
I used to
That's
play
the evolution
banjo.
of mime, apparently. What's that?
Yeah, I used to play banjo on Frenchman Street in New Orleans, and those motherfuckers would always walk out with all the money, just standing
You
there.
know how to play the banjo, do you? I've always wanted to play the banjo.
Yeah, I'm all
It's
right
an-
at banjo. I'm good at the fiddle,
Nice.
and I'm really good at bass. That's my thing.
Oh yeah.
What? You play fiddle too? That's crazy.
Yeah, you saw me play bass, right, Harith?
Twitter.
Maybe.
Yeah,
Did you play?
I was playing some slap at that thing we did.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
Yeah, did you see that? Okay, cool.
Slap bass, like Seinfeld.
Yeah, like Seinfeld. I played Seinfeld that night.
Okay. Nice. So you like giving a slap bass? You really are into the Les Claypool.
Yeah, I love Les Claypool. Absolutely. Yeah, I'm a huge fan. Slap. I've been doing that since I was probably like 14. So yeah.
Wow.
Yeah, no, like 40 years. No, I'm kidding. As an age joke, I'm not that old. I promise.
I didn't believe you anyway.
I'm
But-
over 40. I'm in my 40s.
Are you really?
Yeah,
Wow,
Well,
No,
you
you're
didn't know?
not. Are you really?
Yeah. I am. Yeah.
that is a beautiful man right there.
Yeah, we used to play. I used to have a band. We used to play Elvis. I think I told you, Aaron, or whatever your name is.
Yeah,
I know that's not your name. Whatever I should call you, let's say.
yeah.
We did Elvis covers at like 10 times the speed and volume. It was just all Elvis, but it was like very
Fuck
fast.
yeah.
It was loud, but it was good.
Punk Elvis. That's pretty cool.
Well, I don't advocate for punk. I prefer metal Elvis.
Yeah, metal.
But ultimately, it was probably a bit punky just because we were a bit inept, or not really inept. We were good. We were good in a way. The drummer would never. The drummer was like a savant, and he was like
Hell
he could
yeah.
never play the same drum beat twice. He would just play like I'll send you one or two of them after this, and you can tell me what you think.
I can't.
You'll be
wait
like,
to
okay,
hear-
it's not bad, but it's fucking shit, really.
Dude.
You'll see what I mean. And actually, there was there's two originals from it I can send you as well.
Yeah,
And one of them's actually
yeah.
not bad. It's a little kind of like you'll see. It's not bad. It's a shit recording mic. It's like a room mic plugged into an iMac.
Hell yeah.
Like a floor mic, like that
yeah.
like just captures the whole.
You're recording black metal Elvis albums. What you're telling me?
Yeah, I'll send you. I got one. The only one I have. We had all these songs, but the only one I still have a recording of because I lost them all. It's been so many years.
Oh no.
I wish I had more of them. Yeah, is our version of All Shook Up.
Really?
Yeah, I'm playing guitar and singing, and there's a drummer, and that's it. Like that's all.
Badass.
That's
It was me.
awesome.
Yeah.
It was
sounds
the drummer was called Angry Abdul Al Hazred.
What?
Yeah.
So how's the album how are people responding to your new album? How's that going?
Oh, they're responding really well, actually.
Yeah,
So,
good.
yeah, it's
I'm
awesome.
gonna have to check it out. I haven't been able to yet, but I will check it out.
Yeah. No
So
worries.
you've recorded an album. Is it did you record it like at home, or did you a studio?
Yep.
Or?
Yep. And at home, at my home studio, which is like just another word for, as with as low budget as possible.
Hell
But
yeah.
but I spent a year on this one, just like trying to mix it, and
Oh, good.
I don't know. I'm like really trying to learn the the music production side of things, and it's something that I didn't know anything about 2 years ago. So I'm trying to learn quickly, but it's a process, and I think I'm always going to be learning it, to be honest, because it's just there's a lot to it.
Did Jeff help you at all? I know Jeff knows a lot about all that kind of shit.
I've asked his opinion on some like mixes and stuff. If something sounds balanced, he was featured on one of the tracks. He played bass.
Oh, cool. Good
Yeah.
deal.
So did you record all the instruments yourself, or did you get help? Or?
Well, except for the bass for that one, I did record most of the instruments myself. There's a couple songs where I'm featuring different artists, and they might have done some background vocals or some lead vocals in parts. But all the instruments I did myself, which is mostly just guitar. I did any bass that I added. I did some kind of cinematic sort of stuff with the like keyboard controller through my program. I have like this orchestra library thing, and then did some drum beats and stuff like that too.
So real drums, you got real drums and you were playing them? Yeah.
I have one of the Irish drums, which I can never say right. It's like the
Boran.
Okay.
I
used to say Bodrin. I was like, I was like Bodrin. But yeah, so I have that, and then I've kind of been working more with like this orchestral percussion thing because it's got a similar, very authentic sound in my opinion. But
like a timpani, or what's the big drum with the
big bass like doom drum.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's cool.
It's got like a really kind of tribal
I'd like to have
sound
a gong and a sitar is what I'd like to have. I think that's the.
I don't even know what I would do with a sitar. I'm really not that technical when it comes to music. I just go based on feel. It's very intuitive. I know a little bit of music theory, but not enough to say I'm a musician. That's why I'm just like, I'm a singer-songwriter.
I don't know how to read music or anything. But I assume the sitar is you can theoretically play it sort of like a guitar, because I've heard people play like kind of blues on a sitar and stuff. I just assumed it's the same. No,
could be.
Do you ever know?
Yeah. I've never played, but it looks like you can just kind of I think you're plucking more notes than you are doing chords and such.
Yeah.
I could be wrong about
I could see that.
We should get a Chapman stick. That'd be something.
I'd play the fuck out with Chapman stick.
Would you? Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
I don't even know what that is. Actually,
is that the one with like 16? That's the one with like 16 like bass strings.
It's
right?
the ultimate prog
goodness.
rock. It's the ultimate prog rock instrument.
Yeah.
It's like a guitar stick that you like put against you hold it like this up against you, and you like play it like this.
Yeah, you play it. You do the piano.
It's
oh my gosh, yeah,
tapping.
I would be terrible at that.
Yeah.
Well,
it would just be like the worst noise ever.
It still sounds cool.
You could figure out. You just play a few notes and you can sing over top. You'll be fine.
It sounds like math.
It is.
Mathy. But it's not corporate. It's anti-corporate. I mean, think of that. That is an anti-corporate, and like less than an instrument. That's incredibly complex. You have to, that's Walmart and fucking Google are not going to come up with that or support it. I mean, they hate it.
Yeah,
they probably purchase every Chapman stick in the world so they get destroyed in a bonfire in front of you. Like, take that in your fucking Chapman stick, you son of a bitch.
Soon enough.
That's what they would do.
There'll be disclaimers on the Chapman sticks.
Yeah. So listen, that's quite long actually, and there's a lot of rambling. So maybe I can condense it to its better parts. A lot of rambling by me, like lost and whining about corporate things. But.
Hey,
that's well, that was the topic, though. The topic.
That was it. That was it. Yeah, that was it. That was it. So let's shut her down. So thanks for that.
Yeah.
And, thank you. Thank you for having me.
Hi, Reyes. Yeah. Reyes. We'll have you on again.
Yeah, sounds good.
And sounds good to me.
And that's it. So goodbye. Oh, and yes,
Bye,
you
y'all.
want to
Yep.
say about your album before you go, or where you can get it or something? Or...
Oh, you can find me on Bandcamp. It's High Music. It might be High Music 9 actually, with the number 9 after. But if you search High Music on YouTube, that will also bring my channel up, and you can find all the links on the About page. So,
Okay.
thank you.
Yeah. Good. And Aaron, you've got what have you got? Oh.
I've got you, babe. That's what I've got.
Yeah, that's it. That's it. All right.
I'll probably get a new article to you here soon.
Okay, good.
Check out Neo Kitsch. That's my newest article. I was pretty happy with that one.
Yeah.
Thanks for editing that.
Yeah,
Monster.
No,
I'm kidding.
No problem.
Yeah.
No problem. Yeah. So thanks for that. And it's late here. When I went outside earlier, it was like beautiful starry night sky. It was Orion was like right above me. I could see him up over. Yeah, it was amazing. And for you guys, it's like middle of the day. There's birds chirping. It's like noon or something, or not noon, afternoon.
Yeah.
Yeah.
There's a loud bird that sounds like it's like right on my shoulder.
Yeah, it's just
invited in next time.
We've traveled through time to record ourselves on video.
Let's ask the bird what it thinks about corporate culture.
Yeah.
Yeah, right.
Exactly, yeah. All right. So that's it. Goodbye.
Yep.
Thank you very much. Bye.
Bye-bye.